The stars are right, and that means it's time for another episode of The Whisper in Darkness. I'm your host, the Man from Leng. Thank you very much for joining me today. On this episode, we are continuing with our review of the player cards in the Scarlet Keys Investigator expansion. This is part 4 of our look at the Seeker cards. In this episode, we're going to discuss Press Pass, Surgical Kit, Fingerprint Kit Level 4, and Grey's Anatomy. There are spoilers throughout if you care about that sort of thing. If you enjoy what you hear, remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Before we get started, a quick reminder of how we rate cards here on The Whisper in Darkness. The best of the best get an Elder Sign, while the worst of the worst get an Auto Fail, and the cards in between get a +1, 0, or Elder Thing respectively. Cards that you build around or cards that are good in one particular deck get a Bless token, while cards that we believe are destined to end up on the list of taboos or are simply bad for the big game get a Curse token. Before we get started, I'd like to thank the patrons of this channel for their tremendous support. The Arkham Horror LCG community is amazing, and these people have gone above and beyond to bring you content like these player card reviews. If you'd like to support the channel's goals and see your name on this list, head over to patreon.com, sign up for a tier of your choice, and claim your rewards. That would be awesome. Special thanks to Cole Monroe Tritty for the amazing art that graces the channel, Nicole Fiscus for the Whisper in Darkness logo, and Nate Lost in Time and Space for the intro as well as the overlays. Thank you very much. I couldn't do it without you. Without further ado, let's get started. Welcome back, Arkham Horror fans, to our review of the player cards in the Scarlet Keys Investigator expansion. This is part 4 of our look at the Seeker cards in the box. We're going to start off with Press Pass. It's a 4-cost asset that costs 2 experience points, willpower, and agility skill icons, item, and charm trait. Response: after you spend 1 or more clues or place 1 or more clues on your location, exhaust Press Pass. You may take an additional action during this turn or your next turn if it is not currently your turn and it takes up an accessory slot. Now, we've talked a lot about the clue dropping deck in this batch of reviews. This is yet another card that slides neatly into that particular style of deck. You're already going to be wanting to drop clues, and what better way to drop a clue and get an additional action? What do you think about this one?
So I gotta admit, I think this card's too good. I really liked Research Notes a lot because what that did is it helped you negate the downside of the quite powerful effects that come from dropping clues. This turns that cost into an upside by giving you extra actions. I do not like this card. I think this is too powerful. It's like the downside of the dropping a clue is not just made up for, but now you're accelerating ahead. And I don't like this card. It's too good. It's very strong. It makes it too easy to just mash all the clue dropping cards together and, take off. I really didn't think it needed the after you spend 1 or more clues. So it's like on top of making the deck type take off, now all of a sudden, anytime you spend 1 or more clues for, say, an act, or an effect on a location, like anything to advance the game forward, you get another action for advancing the game forward. Like, I really don't like this card. This is, like, I read this card and I, flipped the table. No, the game, why does Seekers have to be like this?
When I read this card and I saw, okay, here is yet another card that gives Seekers additional actions.
Yeah.
And if this was the only card that gave them additional actions or the equivalent of an additional action, maybe. But the fact that you get to turn that downside, that is dropping the clue, now they're just giving you the action back. So you could potentially just grab the clue again. Worst case. Yeah, it feels like too much. The fact that it takes up an accessory slot, I mean, you play Relic Hunter, now you've got 2 of these on the table and you're taking 2 actions. You're getting 2 actions for every clue you drop. You combine this with things like hiking boots, which I know I've seen in the clue dropping deck. So now you're getting additional actions to move around the table. It just feels like the Seekers already had enough of this type of stuff, and this just adds more to that. It is a charm, so Amina could take this. I don't know whether she is in a position to really be dropping a lot of clues, but the fact that it deals with spending clues too, like it's not just dropping clues, like you said, it's like we advance the act. Hey, I get another action out of the deal.
Yeah.
So that sort of just opens this up to everybody else, which
Exactly. Even if it only said after you spend one or more clues, didn't even do the clue dropping bit, I think it would be properly costed. I mean, the one thing that this has going for it to like bring it down in power is the fact that it costs 4, which is like quite a
True.
hefty amount. Yeah, but I think like I said, even if it only worked when you spent clues to like advance the act, it would feel appropriate, you know. But the fact that you could like it hits the gas on something that was a downside.
The other thing I don't like about this card is just that little bit of text, or your next turn if it is not currently your turn, which seems really kind of wonky. I don't think we've ever seen that type of text on a card. It's usually like, take the action now, or
oh yeah, that's true. Like
now it's just like, I've got to remember that I have an extra
yeah, exactly.
I have an extra action on my next turn. Like if you trigger this during the Mythos phase or something like that, when you spend, or like when you spend clues, say one of the strategies is to spend if you're going to advance the act, spend the clues at the enemy phase, at the end of the enemy phase. So just in case anything spawns, you're not potentially having it spawn and then move on top of you. So now you've got to remember through an entire Mythos phase in multiplayer that you actually have an extra action to take next turn. Like, it's not impossible to do. It just seems inelegant.
It's weird
compared to
it's
some
kind
of
of
the
weird
cards
compared to what we already have. Like if it didn't have that text, then you would have to. It would only work on when you advance the act, which would still be incredible, but there'd at least be like some limit to it, you know. But there isn't. Like, oh god, I hate this card. I wish it was. I really wish it didn't exist. This is like everything was going okay. Everything was going okay for the Seeker of this set until I saw this, and I was like, what the hell?
Need I ask how you rate this one?
Nah, you don't have to.
Yeah, it's a curse token, unfortunately. Seekers just, I don't think they really needed any more action advantage than they were already piling on. And the fact that this turns a negative into a positive, even for 2 XP, I mean, there's just no downsides anymore to playing a deck, to playing the clue dropping deck. And this will be 2 of in every one version of those decks. And the fact that it's 2 XP, so I mean, it can go in every version of the deck. You know, it's not limited to some investigators and not others. This will be ubiquitous, and when cards are ubiquitous, you're taking away choice from players as to what to put in the deck. And
exactly.
I think this is like, well, what are you spending your first 4 XP on? Press pass every time. So this one gets a curse token, unfortunately, and we'll see. I mean, I know we gave cards in Edge of the Earth. There were quite a few cards that we gave curse tokens, and they haven't ended up on the list of taboos yet.
But some of them did.
The designers have admitted that they aren't tabooing every card that could possibly deserve a taboo. So we shall see whether this one ends up on the list of taboos, if and when we see an update for that, possibly in late 2023. Who knows? The next card is Surgical Kit. It's a 2-cost asset that costs 3 XP, 2 intellect skill icons, item tool, and science trait. Uses 4 supplies as a response. When one of your card effects heals damage from an investigator, spend 1 supply. Either that effect heals 1 additional damage, or you draw 1 card and heal 1 horror. For 2 actions, you can heal 3 damage from an investigator or ally asset at your location. Thoughts on Surgical Kit?
I really wish this was Guardian. I think Guardians deserve this. Because like Guardians have, at 3 XP and 2 cost, they have First Aid. first aid level 3, and I bet you Guardians are jealous that Seeker's got this. I gotta admit, I really wish this was a Guardian card. Guardians deserve this. This is
Yeah.
a lunch got stolen today. A lunch got stolen.
Yeah, this one, I mean, Vincent Lee is the Seeker Investigator. In the box, he is all about healing damage. So chances are you're going to be playing quite a few cards that heal damage from Investigators. Surgical Kit slides right into that deck. So now you either get to heal one additional damage, or Vincent gets to draw cards and heal Horror on top of that.
Yeah.
Healing 3 damage for 2 actions?
That is kind of steep.
That seems steep to me, especially since you can do that as an event with Bizarre Diagnosis.
Yeah, that is kind of steep. But then again, if you consider it as like 2 actions, heal 3 damage, and draw a card and heal a horror off yourself, okay, at least you get a card and a horror out of it. That's not bad. And if this were Guardian, Vincent still could have taken it because it heals damage, so he could have taken it anyway. So, all you people out there, take a blue highlighter.
How would you rate this one?
+1. Yeah, because like it draws you cards. Yeah,
I'm gonna give this one a blessed token. I think Vincent likes this.
That's a fair
I don't think it's gonna see play in many other Investigators besides Vincent.
Yeah, because you kind of got to really want to do the healing. You've got to either pack other healing. Yeah, you're right. I think I was underestimating the 2 actions bit. Like, how many times are you gonna want to do that? You get 1 card for 2 actions in that case. Yeah, I'll change me to bless. You're right. It is a little more narrow than I thought it was. Needed to come down from my rage about the fact that Guardians deserve this card.
Yeah, it just feels to me like if you're going to be using this card, you are playing some sort of healing deck or healing damage deck, I should specify. Yeah. And if you're playing a healing damage deck, there is an Investigator who does that sort of thing. And this goes in there, and I can't imagine many other Investigators. Like, the thing is that the 3 XP cost takes this out of Guardians. Like, this is a true yellow Seeker card that only big Seekers are going to take, and I just don't see many of them, say, spending XP on this when most of them either want to be jacking their clues, or if you're playing the research notes deck, you're buying press pass instead of this. I just don't see this going in those decks.
Can Carolyn take this card?
I believe so. Heals horror.
Okay, that's nice. If this counts, and Carolyn can take it, okay, I like that. All right, at least like the Guardian healer can take it.
The next card is an upgrade for one of Matastrophic's favorite cards. This is Fingerprint Kit level 4 5-cost asset, which I believe is 1 more than the level 0 version, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. 2 intellect skill icons, item and tool trait, uses 3 supplies. As an action, exhaust Fingerprint Kit and spend 1 supply. Investigate. You get +2 intellect for this investigation. If you succeed, you discover 2 additional clues at your location, and it takes up a hand slot. This seems to me much like sort of all the Mystic upgrades we've seen over the years for things like Rite of Seeking and all those cards. This just sort of lets you keep pace in multiplayer. If you're playing Fingerprint Kit before, you upgrade to this, and now as the clue totals rise, you're able to keep pace with that.
Yeah, this is like a very straightforward and pretty strong use of XP. 4 may seem steep, but this is going to just accelerate what you're already trying to do as a Seeker. That being said, as a Seeker, like if you're a full-on Seeker, Fingerprint Kit can be slow. Normal Fingerprint Kit can be slow sometimes, but if you have 8 XP, then this is like really fast. If regular Fingerprint Kit basically said spend 4 and give yourself 3 deductions, this is spend 5 and give yourself 3 level 2 deductions, in your hand. And then, because of the additional clues, 3 clues for 1 action is a lot. So it's a very straightforward, strong use of XP, very focused if you're like the primary clue getter at your table.
Yeah, one of the things I liked Fingerprint Kit for, I believe, was in Norman Withers, because he didn't have a lot of ways of grabbing extra clues because
Right.
he was sort of
Yeah.
cut off from advanced seeker
Mhm.
cards. And Fingerprint Kit was one of the ways he could get around that. Now he can't take this version,
That's true. It
but
is seeker only. Yeah.
I mean, this just +2 for investigation, 3 clues, a turn. That's going to clear a lot of
Very good.
locations very quickly.
Yeah.
How would you rate this one?
I'm gonna give it a +1, even though I play base fingerprint kit a lot, especially in off class. This is like upgrading your shriveling or upgrading your rite of seeking. Like if you're focusing on this getting clues, then this is a great use of 8 XP. It's a lot of XP though, which is why it's not an elder sign. It is a lot of XP, but it's worth it.
If you were playing Fingerprint Kit before,
Mm-hmm.
you're probably going to be upgrading to this as long as you can take it. That's the one proviso here, is that at 4 XP, you're a true blue seeker if you're going to take this. But yeah, I'm going to give it a +1 as well. Very strong, lets you grab more clues, which everybody needs. So the final card we are going to take a look at is Grey's Anatomy, the Doctor's Bible, 3-cost asset that costs 5 XP, willpower, intellect, and wild skill icon, item, and tome trait. As an action, choose a card at your location and test 1 intellect. For each point you succeed by, choose 1. The next time that card would be healed this round, heal +1 damage or horror to a maximum of +3. Or the next time this card would be dealt damage this round, deal +1 damage to a maximum of +3. During our reviews of the player cards in the Dunwich Legacy Investigator expansion, we talked about the idea of the Seeker as the sort of the helper of the group who doesn't necessarily deal the damage, but finds ways to help other investigators at the table, whether that is, looking up the monsters in a book like Grey's Anatomy and pointing out their weaknesses, or helping with the shroud value of locations. How do you feel it was implemented here?
I think this is kind of perfect for that vision. That vision that we were lamenting didn't really get a lot of development. It does seem that this set, that version of the Seeker, is getting some development. I mean, we've got like guidance, for example. We did have Orphic Theory. We had where'd it go? Analysis less so, but like Bizarre Diagnosis. Like they seem to have been adding a few things to like add to that support seeker, and I'm really glad they did. Given that you want to play a support seeker and you're willing to forego like the super seeker, like I think this is kind of perfect for you. Consider it like, I mean, I'm already looking at it like the difficulty's 4. Just I'm saying the difficulty's 4, and so you pass a test of difficulty 4 to add 3 to a heal or add 3 to an attack. It does provoke, worth being said, but that feels right for that Dunwich era support seeker that we were talking about earlier. That same era where guidance provoked an attack of opportunity. Remember that? Like, yeah, it was from that same era. So like if you consider the entire seeker and like everything the seeker is capable of doing, then this is kind of meh. But if you want to like confine yourself to the support seeker that doesn't take care of all the enemies themselves, then I think this is kind of perfect for you. I think that's my way of saying it.
Basically, this is jacking everything by +3.
Yeah.
I guess the biggest issue I had with it is +3 damage feels like a lot.
It is. Yeah.
But I mean, you're paying 5 XP for it as well.
Yeah, you're paying 5 XP. And I mean, considering other Seeker 5 XP cards, this is like pretty tame. Like Edge of the Earth had one of the upgrades that you had to research for in Edge of the Earth was like the healing thing, but like forever. And then just lots of high level Seeker cards just vaporize enemies. So this is for a Seeker 5 XP card, this is pretty tame.
I think it's probably fair simply because the timing of it is you need to coordinate. It's not like you can just be like, okay, I'm going to use Grey's Anatomy. Somebody needs to attack it. But it's the next time the card would be dealt damage. So you need to be organized amongst yourselves. Like, okay, how are we going to order this turn so we can maximize the Grey's Anatomy, which means the Seeker has to go first before you start to deal with the enemy. So if that enemy happens to be on the Seeker, things get a little more complicated than it would be.
You have to play the game, and you have to like communicate and coordinate at that point, you know, instead of the Seeker doing everything and blasting everything.
Whereas with something like Strange Solution, that debate is nipped in the bud, because then the Seeker just obliterates the enemy and you move on. Or Necronomicon, or, you know, pick your poison.
Yeah.
You know, Seekers will obliterate the enemy. No discussion required. At least there is a bonus in there, but you will have to work for it a little bit. How would you rate this one?
Okay, this is really a very long-winded way of getting around to the bless, where the bless is determined by the type of game you want to play. Okay, so given that you're going to forgo all the real ultimate power of things like Necronomicon, you know, and all those, and like Ancient Stones and Acidic Ichor, like non-tabooed Acidic Ichor, and, you know, all those other ways of like just obliterating stuff, then this gets to be like a 0, maybe a +1 in there. It's hard to rate because it's really about choosing a playstyle.
No, I definitely see where you're coming from. I mean, I hadn't really settled on a rating for this one, but I think a bless token is appropriate because you've built a certain style of deck.
Yeah.
And this slides into that style of deck where you are supporting others at the table. You're not necessarily trying to do it all yourself. Now, if you happen to be playing Vincent Lee, I think this one makes more sense in him simply because he's probably going to be doing the healing anyway.
I do really like that it says the next time that card would be dealt damage, not the next attack. So it can't miss. So like if the first shot that the Guardian takes misses, the Grey's Anatomy effect is still around.
Yeah, and it does affect all of those cards that sort of deal a point of damage. Suddenly, a lot of those cards are dealing 4 damage, which is
mano a mano.
very, very, very nice. Yeah, I think I'm going to give this one a bless token. I don't think it's the ideal rating for it.
This is very much a special case, I'd say.
But it seems better than a 0.
Yeah.
Like if I wasn't to rate it a bless, I'd probably end up giving it a +1.
Yeah,
I don't know if I'd be able to go higher than that.
Yeah, it's got all those like tags on it, like saying like given this, and this. It kind of makes this hard to rate. But so we'll just go with bless then.
That's going to do it for our look at the Seeker cards in the Scarlet Keys Investigator expansion. Let us know in the comments down below what you think about the Seeker cards that the class received this time around. I have to say, not compared to past sets, Seekers seem to have been tapped down a little bit in this one. The only one that seems really egregious is Press Pass, simply because it turns the whole downside of dropping clues into a positive.
It seems like the Seeker. It seems like there were really 2 Seekers in this box. There were the cards that were designed for Vincent and the cards that were designed for Daryl. And Daryl's capstone got pretty broken. Vincent's capstone is fine. You know, and like indicative of like a different play style. It's like there's like 2 different minds in this set of Seeker cards. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I do really like that Grey's Anatomy exists and that it's kind of like a capstone for another style of play. A style that does not get nearly enough love. So I'm really glad that exists. Meanwhile, you have more classic Seeker crap with Press Patch.
Yeah, I like the fact that we did get the the clue drop deck was fleshed out.
Yeah.
I guess that's one of the advantages of the new release system. You know, back in the day when we were getting a Mythos pack a month, the whole clue drop idea wouldn't have come into focus probably until pack 6. We would have it would have been like, oh, well, here's the deck that, you know, we've been slowly
research notes
building
doesn't show
towards.
up till like research note shows up on pack 4 or something, and you're like, oh.
So it's nice we get the complete package here. And I think it's, you know, it's nice for new players to have something that's easy to latch onto. It's, you know, if you put these 4 or 5 cards in a deck, you've got a pretty good deck.
I do wish Quick Study got reprinted sometime though, because I feel like Quick Study is actually the is actually like the thrust of the idea. Yeah. So if you're a new player and you don't have Quick Study, I think you're missing out on a lot.
That's going to do it for this episode. If you enjoyed what you hear, remember to like, comment, and subscribe. If you need to contact me, I can be reached at manfromlang@gmail.com. I'm also on Twitter at manfromlang. Until the stars are right, keep your shotgun close and your elder sign closer. Take care out there, and happy investigating.